Hey everyone, today we're taking a look at Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, the newest entry in the Ninja Gaiden series. This time, instead of a third-person hack and slash, Ragebound takes Ninja Gaiden back to its 2D platforming roots from the 80s and 90s. And man, what a surprise this game is! Ragebound is an absolute quality 2D platformer that mixes classic vibes with modern mechanics. I went into this game without many expectations, but I ended up having way more fun than I expected. It's challenging, respects your time, and in my opinion, now the frontrunner as the best 2D platformer of 2025 so far. Here are my thoughts. Instead of the usual series' main protagonist Ryu, Ragebound instead has us control Kenji, Ryu's disciple, and Kumori, a black spider kunoichi. They each have different playstyles, with Kenji using melee sword strikes while Kumori throwing kunai at range. They later fuse into one body though, combining their abilities for more frenetic and complex combat. Right off the bat, I want to highlight how great Kenji and Kumori are to control. For a platformer requiring precise input and timing, having tight controls and game feel are deal breakers. It is so important to make sure the experience feels rewarding instead of frustrating, which is often dictated by how much agency a player has over their character. Making sure that all deaths are on the player is what creates a desire for mastery over the game, which Ragebound succeeds. Jumps feel crispy, attacks are snappy, hitboxes in my experience feel appropriately aligned. There's a mechanical joy in this game, slashing through waves of enemies and landing jump after jump. I especially like the new hypercharge mechanic. Killing an enemy with an aura grants your next attack extra power, often killing even stronger enemies in one hit and stunning bosses. This creates an ideal order you want to kill enemies, taking out aura ones first to kill off stronger ones in one shot later. It makes each combat encounter feel like a mini puzzle in a way, not punishing you if you decide to brute force and ignore the mechanic altogether, but feels incredibly rewarding if you do choose to use it. This is true with the bosses too, where you're given opportunities to perform a mechanically more different sequence to get that hypercharge to land big damage on the boss. Or you can just take it nice and slow. It works great. At the start, I was concerned that some of the contrived annoyances from the NES era of platforming would make a return, but Ragebound makes some smart design choices that really make it hard to put down. One example is that now when you get hit in mid-air, instead of losing control over your character entirely and losing your life to a pit, you are now given an extra jump to readjust. I found this to take away a lot of frustrating moments while still feeling adequately punished for my mistakes. Maybe old school purists will complain that it makes the game too easy, but in my opinion, the reduced rage-inducing deaths is a welcome trade-off. My favorite modernization though is definitely the respawn system. Across the level and before a boss, you encounter checkpoints that heal you and become your newest respawn point if you die. And there's no punishment for death other than starting over from your last checkpoint. I love how fast it is to get back to the part where you died and grind out the tough sections without having to deal with the tedious runback. This is especially true for the bosses, which can be quite challenging. Being able to grind out try after try becomes so rewarding once you finally overcome whatever platforming section or boss you were struggling with, kinda like the feeling in Souls-likes. Next, the level design here is some solid stuff. The game is structured like an old school platformer divided into levels. Each level has its own unique setting and introduces new mechanics to keep the gameplay fresh. I found them to be on the longer side for a 2D platformer, but they never drag. This is thanks to a great mix of platforming, combat, puzzles, and set pieces that make every level so memorable. You can't really predict what the game will throw at you next, and this unpredictability mixed with the level of mechanical quality here is magical. I don't think there's a single throwaway level at all. They are all quality in my books. One part of the game that took me by surprise was the boss fights. These are some great encounters that I wasn't expecting from a 2D platformer. They not only have great aesthetics, but interesting attacks that are well telegraphed and feel fair for the most part. The player is encouraged to play dynamically. You gotta land your melee hits to generate meter, to cash in on your special range attacks and charge your special art. In a way, it reminded me a bit of Sekiro, where you have to really understand how to respond to each move, and where you can squeeze in your moments of aggression. It's not brutally hard, but balanced quite well where I found grinding out try after try to feel amazing once I beat the boss. This game is fantastic. If I have any complaints about Ragebound, is that I just wish there was more content. The game clocks in around 5 to 6 hours on the first playthrough depending on your skill level, so it's on the shorter side. It's a tight, well-paced experience, but it left me wanting a few more levels, maybe an extra boss or two, or a post-game challenge mode. That said, I'd rather take a shorter game that feels complete and polished than something padded out with filler, and Ragebound definitely respects your time. The only other area that felt like a missed opportunity was the upgrade system. By collecting golden scarabs throughout the game, You can spend them at a shop to unlock buffs, different special moves or projectiles, and difficulty modifiers. The system works fine and doesn't get in the way, but I got the feeling that there could have been more done here. A few branching skill trees or character specific upgrades would have added more replayability. But those are ultimately minor nitpicks in what is otherwise a standout release. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is fast, stylish, mechanically satisfying, and never overstays its welcome. It manages to channel the spirit of classic 2D action games while cutting out all the parts that made them frustrating. If you're into platformers or want something old school with modern polish, check this one out for sure. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound came out of nowhere for me, and it ended up being one of my favorite surprises of the year. Hey, thanks for watching. It means a lot to me as I continue to improve my content. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more content like this. See you in the next one.